Hello crafters, in tonight's video we're going to be making 3 amazing cards using the Lights and Wonder photopolymer stamp set and dies. And for our background paper we're going to be using the beautiful Lights of Aurora Designer Series paper. Hi, I'm Joan Heberlein and I created this video for Joan Simple Paper Crafts, found right here on YouTube. If you're new here, I want to thank you for stopping by. If you're a returning guest, welcome back. Be sure to subscribe by clicking the subscribe button below. That way you won't miss when I post a video, which is typically once a week. Now give me a few seconds to turn the camera down and we'll get started. Here's one of the cards we're going to be making tonight using the Light and Wonder photopolymer stamp set and the Light and Wonder dies. We're going to use this die here, this die here. In another card we'll be using this one, and then the sentiments that we'll be using are the love, the wonder, the magic, may your days be filled with, wishing a year of, and you are a. And then there's one more die we're going to be using from one of these cards, and it's this one here from the Autumn Tree dies. We'll go ahead and get started, and we're going to leave this up here so we can see what we want to do with it. We'll start out with our card base. This is going to be a piece of Nightum Navy cut at 5.5 inches by 8.5 inches, and it's scored at 4 1/4 inches. That's going to be 14 centimeters by 21.6 centimeters and scored at 10.8 centimeters. And I'm going to fold and burnish that. And we'll leave that for right now. Then our background paper is going to be this piece of Designer Series paper taken from the Lights of Aurora 6x6 inch Designer Series paper. This is the front side and this is the back side. I've already got it cut down to the size that we're going to need it. And that's going to be 4 1/4 inches by 5.5 inches, or 10.8 centimeters by 14 centimeters. We're going to work with this right now. We need to cut our large trees, and we're going to use a Nightum Navy cardstock for that. I'm going to show you how to use our adhesive sheets. That is one way to do these adhesives. And another is just using glue. So we'll do it both ways so you can see how to do it. And I'm going to put this on here. Adhesive sheets come 6 inches by 12 inches and is divided by 3 panels. And I'm going to just take the first panel off. And this is shiny and it's not sticky. So this is what I want to put on my card. And I'm just going to line it up here at the base here. Get it in the corners. And we'll take the next panel. Maybe I can get it to go down like this. We'll go down this way. And then I got one more. Just pull that off again. That looks good. And then we can take that and die cut our large trees. And we're going to use this plate here. And we'll use this pattern. So we'll number 1 and 2 number 2s. Here's a number 1. Here's a number 2. And we're going to put our cardstock down. I want to get it out here because I need to see the whole piece here. And then we're going to take our die, and this is the cutting edge right here, and this is the non-cutting edge. So we're going to put a cutting edge down, and it's pretty much going to cover all of this. Okay, and then I want to take a piece of tape. We're going to use our Post-it label covering up tape. It sticks securely, removes cleanly, and you can use it over and over. And I got some here that I'm going to just reuse. And I'm going to put the second number 2 plate on there. Then we'll just crank it out. So we got one done there. And we're just going to take this off from here. And we want to take this top part off. And then you're going to want to clean this off. I'm not going to go through it right now. And we're going to do one more. We'll do the smaller trees. And that's going to be with this purple here. I believe it's Highland Heather. And here's our die. And we want to have that be at the very top, because we want to use pretty much all of this for our rest of our card. See, we want to have the rest of that down there. So let's get that as much as we can toward the top. I'm going to get that tape off from here. And then we'll just do our second number 2 in there and crank it out. We are done with this for right now, so I'm going to just fold it up. Stuck. And we want to take that waste away. Again, we're going to want to clean this out. We'll do that a little bit later on. We're going to go ahead and glue everything to the designer series paper. I'm going to peel this away. Let me get this. I'm going to make a pile over here. You see how it's coming with those wastes in there? That's how we want it to come out. There's still some in there that didn't come out, so I'm going to just take my Take Your Pick tool and poke those out before we go any farther with the next one. You probably can't see that, sorry. Then we're going to take our next one. There's a few in there yet. So poke this out here. That looks good. And we'll take that third panel. And there's a couple in there that didn't pop out, so we'll get those. And we want to put this down so that this tree is going to reach the top, and this one will be just a little bit lower. And I want it to be as far to the left as I can get it. And we want to cut this so that it is separated right here. I'm going to right here. And we'll do that. And I'm just going to take this tree, this tiny tree here, and cut it out. Alright, and we'll line that up there. There is some that's hanging over the edge, and I'm just going to trim it off from the back side. This is okay here. We'll just trim these off here. I'm just going to rub those down with my fingers. And then I'm just going to take my bone folder on the back side and just give it a good press. Next we need is our purple. And we want to get that right about here. Oop, there's one here. Pop that out. Now let's see what it looks like if we go this way. I want the darker purple rather than the lighter purple. And it's ombre effect, dark to light here. Yeah, that'll work. Let me get my silicone mat out. And we'll glue these down. This is our glue gun. It's not a Stampin' Up! Product, but we can use our own glue in here. So this is what I'm using in here. Mono liquid glue, and you can find that in the catalog. I'm using this because I have arthritis, and I can't squeeze that bottle anymore. I've got glue things all over my fingertips. Sorry about that. You just squeeze it a little bit, and it comes out. And I'm just going to continue up here. I'm hardly squeezing at all. And I don't think I need these last ones, but I'm going to anyways. I'll just make sure I use my silicone mat so it doesn't get my work surface all dirty. And then when you're not stamping, you can just put this in here and make sure the rubber is pinching that off, and that'll keep it from drying out on you. And then at night, when you're storing it, you can use this cap here, and there's a little pin in there, and you want to just make sure that pin goes down the barrel, and then screw this on, and that'll keep it from drying out overnight. Okay, let's get this on here next. You want to line it up on the left side, the bottom corner, and then we'll work our way to the right side. That looks really good. And I'm going to trim this from the back. All right, that looks good. I'm just going to wipe off my scissors here because I'm not using the right ones. I have a set that I use when I'm cutting things that have adhesives in it, and I didn't get it out. Okay, next we want to stamp this part here. And we're going to use our Night of Navy. And here we're going to, You Are a Wonder. And I'm just going to stamp off. That's going to keep my Stampin' Scrub a lot cleaner by stamping off before I scrub. And then we're going to do this with a Wonder, and then we'll fussy cut it. And I'm just going to use this real quick to get that cleaned up. We're going to put this powder on here that'll keep from static electricity from having all those stray marks on there. So let's see how we can do with this. And we'll bring in our white embossing powder, and we're going to just bring it in underneath here. That looks pretty good. And I'm just going to get my brush here. I've got this big brush that comes with the kit for embossing, but I have this smaller brush to just do the fine details. Yeah, I think that's great. We're not going to do anything else with it. I'm going to cover this up so that doesn't get blown all over. I think that's done. I'm going to let it cool for just a few seconds here. I'm going to cut some of this off so it's easier to trim around. And let's do our blocks here. We can stamp off on those. I believe we already stamped off, but let's clean them up. So we're going to we'll stamp our mist, and we're going to put it on this side. That's our wet side, because there's a raindrop there, and this is a sunbeam, so this is the dry side. I was using it earlier today, so I'm not sure that I needed to do too much in there. That's good. And we'll clean this one then. Then we've got this we want to trim. So we're going to just go around 1/16 of an inch for a border on all of the lettering. I'm just going to come down this side. Okay, we'll come around the back. It's another one where it's easier to come around the other side and meet it down there in the middle. And I just got this little bit of an R. There. Let's bring in our silicone mat again and put some glue on that. And then a little, you are a wonder. Then we need to put in our gems. I'm going to put it on here first before we put our gems on. Let's get it lined up here. Let's open this up. That edge up to there, and there. Okay, and then we're going to open up our bone folder. Just double checking, make sure these are all good there. And let's get our gems now. These are some retired ones, and we're using the 2023-2025 in colors. And we're going to use the blue ones. Let's get this. Put one right here. And then one right up here. And then one down here. And then one more. That's right there. Let's do an odd number. Let's do one more right up here. There. That looks great. Here's that second card we're going to be making tonight. And we're going to be using this piece of designer series paper from the Lights of Aurora 6x6 designer series paper. And then we're going to use this piece as well. It's this on the back. That's our purple. And then this is the black. And that's what the other side looks like. And then this is the berry burst. And that's what the other side looks like. We'll go ahead and trim that first piece down. We're going to cut it down to 4 1/4 inches by 5 1/2 inches, and that's going to be 10.8 centimeters by 14 centimeters. So we're going to cut it at 5 1/2 inches, and we want to cut off this edge, so let's flip it over. So 5 1/2 inches. And then at 4 1/4 inches. All right. Then we want to take this and put our, I think it's Highland Heather, on there. And we're going to just get it on there just like that. So I already put the adhesive strips on the back. so we don't have to do the glue. And I'm just going to start pulling this off. Trick is to get it started. And you see the waste is stuck onto that paper. That's how you want it to come off. Like that, then we don't have to fuss with it. I'm seeing some are still sticking on here, so we'll have to do a little bit of fussing. Okay, and I just don't want that to be stuck on there. I'm going to take my Take Your Pick tool and just start knocking these things off here. So these can come out. Yeah, let's see. A couple of them are in the back here. And let's do the other side. One right here. That looks pretty good. I am not seeing any. Okay, so then we want to just get it. So we're going to get the top of the tree touching the top of the card. Oh, we got a little bit right here. Let me get that out. I'm just going to push it underneath. And then we're going to trim this off with our adhesive scissors. And I'm just going to line it up here and just start trimming it with the edge of the card. Let me just trim this down right here. Okay, the next one's the black. In this one, we use this for the black. And again, I got this already with that adhesive strip on the back. So I'm just going to start peeling this off. Then we want to line it right about here. And we're going to shift it to the right. And I need to make sure I've got it lined up here. I think I wanted it to have lined up the same way. We can trim this off on the left. Then we have our strip down here where we want to have it be right about this point here. And we're going to use that die to determine the edge there. So let me go ahead and do that, and then we'll cut this down to the right size. So let's bring in our cut and emboss machine, and we'll do this sandwich again. So it's the number 1 plate, the number 2 plate that's all etched up, then our paper. I'm going to bring it out so we can line this up on here. We want the cutting edge down, so this is the cutting edge right here. So I'm going to flip it over, and I'm going to just tape that down. I can find my tape here. That's that Post-it label cover-up tape. It sticks securely, removes easily, and can be used over and over. Then I'm going to just put this in here and we'll cut it out. I'm going to take this back down here, and let's take this off. And got a little bit of glue stuck there, so I'm going to take that off from there. So this we want to bring in right about here. And we can get it lined up, both edges there. And then we want to line up where we're going to cut this off. So I'm going to say we need to cut off 1 inch and 1/8. Let's do that. 1 inch and 1/8. And then that's going to line up there. Just want to double check before we do anything else with it. Okay, that looks good. Then we're going to stamp it. May your days be filled with magic. And we're going to use our berry burst. Let's just stamp off. And then we'll do our magic. And we're going to do the magic on this berry burst. And then we'll cut it out. Let's see if we can't get that off from there. Don't want that on the card. All right. Let's just stamp off. We'll bring in our Stampin' scrub to clean these off before it dries. And I'm going to spray this. So let's bring in our shears. And I'm just going to cut this out so that I can get around it a lot easier. And we just want to fussy cut it. So we'll start right here. And we're going to leave about 1/16 of an inch for a border around the lettering. That worked pretty good. I'm going to clean this up a little bit. Then we need to put some glue on this and just get it in here. And I think we'll do that after we get it on the card because I don't want to misjudge where we put it on there. Let's bring in our silicone mat again. And we'll line it down there. That works. I'm going to trim this using the back of the card to line this up. And do the same thing with this one. I should be using the other scissors because I can see there's some glue there. Let's just clean them off real quick. Then we'll put some glue on this and line it up right about here. So magic, right like that. I think that's going to look cute. I could have used that adhesive paper again for this instead of putting the glue on here, but I didn't think of it. Right about there, going upward. Looks fantastic, doesn't it? I'm just going to turn it over and use my bone fold to burnish those lettering on there. We're going to use a piece of black cardstock for our card base. And it's already been scored, so we don't need to worry about that. We do need to burnish this. I want a nice crisp edge on this. So we'll glue this down here. Just checking, make sure everything looks okay. Alright, we'll do that. Got a little glue on here. I'm going to take that off from there. Don't know how that got on there. Must have not had my mat out when I did that. Speaking of, let's bring the mat back out. And I'm going to open it up. And then get those lined up on the edges. That looks fantastic. And we're going to burnish it again from the inside, because we don't want to go across this. That'll knock those off and it could tear them. And then let's go ahead and bring in our piece of white. This is cut at 4 inches by 5 1/4, or 10.2 centimeters by 13.3 centimeters. And we'll put that on the inside of the card. This one would make a good birthday card, so you could put happy birthday on the inside of the card, or leave it blank and let them write it in themselves. I'm going to leave it blank for today. And we're going to leave 1/8 of an inch for a border on all 4 sides, and that would be 0.3 centimeters. And let's go ahead and use our bone folder again. That one's done. Oh, nope, we're going to put our gems on there. And I do have some here. This is from the current catalog. I'm thinking it's frosted iridescent dots, so it's probably the mini catalog. Now let me get my tool here. And we're going to put that right up here. I've got stuff sticking to my fingers. Oh, I don't want that. I want the pink. There. Doesn't that look nice? So this is the next card we're going to make. And we use this designer series paper from the Lights of Aurora 6x6 inch designer series paper for the background paper. And then for the 2 green trees, we use this piece here from that same designer series paper. And this is what the other side looks like. I already have them cut out. So we got our trees cut out. I don't think I have the background paper cut out though. And here I want to center it, so I'm going to take some off of each side. So that's about 3/4 of an inch from each side. Let me double check on that. Yep, 3/4 of an inch from that side, and 3/4 of an inch from that side. Just double checking, see where we're at. So it's 1 inch from this side. So we should be at 4 1/4 now. Yep. Then we need it at 5 1/2 inches. So this is what we're going to be drawing next. And we're going to put the trees on next. At about the right height. I'm going to pull this from here. And this is the lighter green. So we want it right about here. And I'm just going to trim that off and use those adhesive scissors. They are really getting gummy. Then we can do this side. Just got that sliver there. Then we'll do the darker one right in front of it. And we're going to have this one come down quite a bit. And let's see, we want it to be right about here. And then we'll take off this right here. So I'm just cutting it along the edge of the card. And I caught the card edge right here. So let's see if we can't just get it straightened out a little bit. I'm just using my fingers right now. Then we also need to die cut this, the deer. And we'll do that right here. Bring up our cut and emboss machine again. We've got our number 1 plate, number 2 plate, paper. Just going to trim this off. And then we're going to put it on here. We could have used some of that adhesive paper for this too, but glue will work fine. And then we're going to do this as well. And I just want to see about where we have it. Okay, let's see if we can do it better this time. Trying to get that paper off. And we've got some adhesive on there now, so I'm just going to get that taken care of real quick. Okay. Let's bring this back in here. So I am just going to take a sliver off the bottom. Hardly anything. That's about what I took there. Hopefully it wasn't too much. And then I'm lining it up here. Seems to be looking great there. Okay, so we're going to bring in our silicone mat again. We want to put a little bit of glue on the deer. Let's do that in a few minutes. Let's go ahead and stamp this right away. Okay, we're going to use our Versamark ink. Let's go ahead and put this powder on here first before we do that. This prevents static electricity, so you get a cleaner image. Okay, there goes that one, and love. Then we're going to bring in our white embossing powder, and we'll sprinkle that on there, and it should stick to where we inked it up. I'm going to go one more time. Okay, then we're going to bring in our paintbrush and try to brush this stuff away. And I'm going to get a narrower paintbrush than this. I want to get in between here. The white powder is jumping off the paper like it's static electricity is chasing it. There, I think we got our letters like we want them. And we're going to put on a heat gun. That looks pretty good. Now we can put our glue on here. Let's see if we can't get that down here. I'm going to put it on the base right here. And we can get this on here. Yes, that's going to work great. And we can do these too. And we'll line this corner up. And I'm seeing there's some green sticking out, and I am just going to trim that away with my scissors. And we've got this is our base card. It's cut at 5.5 inches by 8.5 inches, or 14 centimeters by 21.6 centimeters. And we have the score line at 4.25 inches, or 10.8 centimeters. And we're just going to burnish that. Let's see if I can move this for right now. And then we'll do it on both sides. And we want to have it glued on here. That looks good. All right, let me get that. We'll line it up right here at the bottom and the sides and the top and the side. And we need to do our inside card. And this is 4 inches by 5.25 inches, or 10.2 centimeters by 13.3 centimeters. I'm not going to stamp this. And we'll line it up here, leaving 1/8 of an inch for a border on all 4 sides. All right, that looks good. Let's put our gems on there. And here I'm going to be using some retired ones. These are going to be our iridescent rhinestones. I'll put one right here, one down here, and let's do one right here. Perfect. I hope you like this project as much as I did. Why don't you give it a try? Now, if you've enjoyed today's video, would you do me 2 favors? Click the thumbs up emoji, which means you like it, and will you share it on social media with your crafting friends and pin it to Pinterest? These actions will help me to keep sharing my ideas with other crafters for free, and I'd really appreciate that. Be sure to hit the subscribe button below so you won't miss any future videos. If you have any questions, be sure to contact me. I'm here to help in any way that I can. If you don't have a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, I'd love to be your demonstrator. Just reach out to me. If you'd like to place a Stampin' Up! Order or would like a catalog, hop over to my website where you'll find the Shop Now button. To shop with me, you'll need to go to joanheberlein.stampinup.net. Bear with me a little bit longer because I want to let you know of the promotions going on right now. Stampin' Up! Has their best starter kit offer ever. From October 1st to the 31st, you'll be able to choose between these two offers. Both offers the same value of free products, that's $99 worth, and it's just whether you want to spend less or more. So you can either spend $35 and get $125 worth of product, or you can spend $99 and get $189 worth of product. You can join just for the hobby and enjoy 20% discount, or take it further and share your creativity with others. It's entirely up to you. Mark your calendars. I'll be back next Sunday, October 26th at 7 p.m. Central Time, and we'll be doing something from the new mini catalog, and I hope you'll be here to join me. Thanks so much for being here with me tonight. I look forward to next time. Bye for now, and don't forget to subscribe.